12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another week of the real issues. Our program, as you know, airs weekdays from 12:30 until 2 p.m. on Real FM, the radio station that serves you on two frequencies, 91.3 for the north and 91.5 for the south. We simulcast on NBC Television, channel 120 on the Flow Cable TV service. We're available on Facebook Live and on YouTube live streaming as well. I hope you're having a good day so far. I hope you've had a good week thus far. And looking forward to a wonderful, enjoyable, refreshing, invigorating, whatever else you may desire out of the weekend that's coming up. And that you will, in all things, remember to stay safe yourself and to keep others safe as much as possible. Look out for others. Take care on the roads. Stop believing that the only way you can drive is at top speed, that you have to be first, that you have to cut in front of people, that you have to cut across them because it makes you feel powerful or you have some kind of prowess extraordinary when you do that. It only lasts until the accident happens and everything comes to a grinding, screeching halt. The traffic, is obstructed. It doesn't move for so long. All the hurry you had in you, which most times wasn't really any hurry. It's just that we feel that to flex ourselves with a vehicle, we got to drive as fast as possible. And, it really doesn't work. So take care of yourselves. And as I think I hear them saying a lot on some international news network, and the late former host of the Jerry Springer show, Jerry Springer, used to say, take care of yourselves and each other. I think that's something I used to hear. What's the name of that guy who was like a legend on NBC? Lester Holt. Yes, he retired not too long ago. Yeah, that was how we used to sign off. Take care of yourselves and each other. Today I'm alone. Terry Fenelon, as you know, he's got another program, Meet the Minister, elsewhere. And so I was the one who suggested that he take Fridays off. So it's such an important program to be having a minister all the time that I didn't want him going into it and his mind is, pushing ahead of himself and what he's doing, how he's going to approach the real issues. And he accepted that, and I think it's working well. Miguel intended to be with me today, but unfortunately, his daughter is not feeling well again today. So, the challenge is when you have very young children and what can happen. So he had made all his plans to be here, but his daughter is somewhat under the weather. So he's got to stay with her and to try to see her through whatever it is she's going through. Hope she recovers very quickly, that it's nothing serious at all, and that she's going to beat whatever bug that's bothering her at this time. I'll be opening the phone lines very early, and I'm not just saying that, I'm going to do it. But people, I'm so happy that I'm the type of person who spends a lot of time, sometimes just going to the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court ECSC website, and, reading judgments, reading rulings and so on at the High Court, at the Appeals Court, at Privy Council, and now see anything like that without you being a lawyer yourself, and a lawyer of considerable experience and expertise and good standing and so on. And I won't mention the person's name, even though he has been essentially, we might say, acquitted. His conviction and his sentence has been overturned, not because the court found that he is not guilty in the sense of we know he didn't do it, although to overturn a conviction is to say that, whatever finding the person guilty, this is being set aside. It was very distressing to many people and to myself personally, because while I didn't know the alleged victim, but I didn't know the accused. I didn't know the alleged perpetrator, who subsequently became convicted and was actually sent to prison. I won't say what profession he was in, but I remember working at Radio St. Lucia and I was shocked. Was it Lisa Joseph who was working with me at the time who came and told me, haven't you heard what has become of this particular person that he's accused of sodomizing a little boy? The little boy was actually brought to him by his mother so he can talk to him and whatever it was, counsel him because he was misbehaving, because apparently the mother was very impressed with that particular person because he had given some kind of talk at a local secondary school. You know, they bring in persons of standing and of good repute and who have some background that they can talk to students at various schools. I've done it at a couple of schools. And apparently the mother was so impressed with that individual that she decided when her son was misbehaving in some way or the other, not too clear, that she asked him whether he could talk. At least that was the story that I was met with at the time. Whether he could talk to her son to see if he could coax him to behave himself, etc., etc. And lo and behold, it is alleged that this individual, this elder person, this person of some influence and respect, ended up, 14 years old the boy was at the time, raping him, as we would say in ordinary parlance, bullying the little boy. And the little boy is said to have gone home. Didn't tell, well, that was the initial story. Didn't tell his mother anything, but his mother noticed when he was sitting that he was looking uncomfortable, that he was, shifting generally. And the mother asked him what had happened to him. And on the questioning from his mother, he said that this particular individual that she had sent him to meet with had basically, again, I'm using the local parlance, but sodomized, buggered him, buggery, bullied him, whatever. And so he was hurt, and the mother went and reported the matter. I remember she took a lawyer, one of St. Lucia's, sometimes controversial, but very outspoken lawyer, who decided that he was going to represent her. I never understood why, but this matter dragged on for years, like so many things in St. Lucia. That happened in 2008. 2008. The case was finally heard in 2019. Now you do the math, From 2008 to 2019, when the matter was finally concluded in the High Court, judgment handed down, sentence passed. I think the officer was sentenced to a long term of imprisonment. Was it 15 years? Was it 30 years? But a long term of imprisonment. Now I just slipped there. I said about the officer already, so you probably will know what it is. Even though right now, I'm not too sure whether the rules for reporting and mentioning people's name under the Sexual Offences Act, whether it applies, because the Sexual Offences Act is that until and unless somebody is convicted, that is to say, the accused or alleged perpetrator, the person who did it, you do not mention their name until they are found guilty. In the case of the victim or virtual complainant, however we describe, you're not supposed to ever mention that person's name. Now that the person is no longer convicted, the conviction has been set aside, the sentence has been set aside, they've both been overturned, does the rule of a sexual offender still apply? Because as it now stands, based upon what the appeal court has ruled, it's almost like there never was any sentence, there never was any conviction, because they've decided that this doesn't apply. Can somebody help me with that? Send me a little message and let me know. The boy, we seem to be getting a call right now. Glenda, I hope you realize that I'm live on air, because I am going to put you on air. Jacan, can you just dismount that microphone so I can put my phone by it? Yeah. Yeah. Was that? All right, we're not on TV. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Okay, all right, we'll look into that. That happened yesterday, and from what I'm hearing, it's happening again today. So Jaquan is going to go to the TV studio to find out what's happening. I'm a little bothered, but I don't know why it happens. I figure there must be a good reason why we tend to have those little glitches and things that come up. But equipment doesn't behave like people, does it? So I don't really know whether we okay now. All right. What was the problem, really? The guys didn't realize that we're not on or something? Okay, all right, thanks. Jaquan has just given me an explanation, but it looks like we're okay now. All right. And, folks, so I'm wondering, the then 14-year-old little boy is now, if we are to add up from 2008 to now, we're talking about 31 years old now. He'll be 31 years old now. I remember the particular individual telling me how this thing had frozen his life. He can't get promoted. He can't get whatever. He's on indefinite suspension, pending the outcome of the thing, on half pay. His prospects for reinstatement are looking dim. By the time this thing probably is disposed of in court, he'd probably have reached retirement age. It's a question of what kind of payment he's going to get, for his retirement or pension or whatever it is. Like, life wasn't looking good for him at all, is what he told me. I never got to speak to the little boy. But the case was finally heard in 2019, and he was sentenced to prison. His appeal now has turned out in his favor. I don't know if they will go any further with it, because one option would have been, and let me tell you, this wasn't like the guy was found like he didn't do it. It's a case of technicality, and that's why I'm bringing this up. When matters like this arise, where a judge was supposed, according to the appeal court justices, was supposed to have given certain directions to the jury and tell the jury, look, the boy, the virtual complainant, has said so and so. However, I am cautioning you all need to weigh this very carefully, because there are only two people involved in this case. There are no witnesses, nobody. It's only the boy's word against the accused person's word. So we only have what it goes by. So you have to look at things very carefully, whether there are any inconsistencies in terms of the testimony of the boy who claimed that he went home and told his mother what had happened. But the mother was never called to testify. So they don't know if he ever told the mother anything. The boy apparently gave evidence, and it is graphic, even to read it, even in a court document, it is graphic about the size of the accused, of the alleged perpetrator's, penis and so on, and how it was huge and how it was super hard and whatever. But yet, there's no evidence showing that he suffered any injury. All right? No evidence. According to his testimony, he went home and he noticed he was bleeding when he went to bathe and went to the toilet and wiped himself, etc. And these are things that called, if it is true, what the boy was describing graphically about the size of the individual's penis and how hard it was and so on, then how come no examination, which I guess would have been done within the legally stipulated time, showed any bruising, showed any cutting, showed any such thing? One of the things, blood was not found in whatever samples that they took, etc., etc. And that basically it was a case of the judge failing to give certain directions to the jury. One of the directions the judge should have given the jury was what is said in the document to have been a good character direction, that the individual who's accused has never had any conviction before. There's never been any complaint about him before. So you have to pay attention to those things, the history of the individual, whether there was anything that would indicate that he has shown an inclination, that he has done anything, that his character, that his reputation, whatever, indicates that he's somebody who might do such a thing. The judge apparently in the trial, High Court, did not do any of that. Now, where am I going with this? I don't want to go too much into the nitty-gritty of it all. If there has been a miscarriage of justice, in the sense that then 14-year-old boy, who by my reckoning, as I said, would be 31 years old, who that was done to him, and it's not easy, It's not easy for a child, a young person, to go and to admit this sort of thing, whether to his mother, whether... I wonder how many children things are done to them, and it never sees the light of day, because either they never say it because they're ashamed, they blame themselves, they feel they should not have done so. In the testimony, the accused person said that he left the boy at a certain point and he was surprised when he turned around to see the boy was following him. Where they were meeting before, in a place that other people would have observed, the boy told him there are certain things he would like to discuss with him after they had spoken, and he decided that the boy needs counseling higher than what he can provide, the talking to that the mother wanted to give him. The boy followed him. And he said, well, why are you following me? Why didn't you go home and so on? The boy told him there are certain things I want to discuss with you. So like there are things he didn't want to discuss with him in the place, the workplace, whatever they were. And then they went to their home and then he realized the boy was at his door, still following him. And, he said, but, what are you coming in there? And how the boy tried to put his hand around his neck and he kissed him or tried to kiss him and he slapped the boy. The boy saying something else about how the man held him and kissed him and whatever, threatened him if he didn't comply, whatever, and eventually leading to us. So, this person saying this, the other person saying that, contradicting each other and so on and so forth. And finally, when I think he insisted that the boy get out of his house and go and live and so on, when the boy tried to kiss him and he slapped him or pushed him, whatever, the boy walking away told him, "You'll see what's going to happen to you." That's what he claims. The boy is saying something else, of course. But the whole thing is that the matter went to trial finally after pending for 11 years. Because that's a long time. We've talked about this man, what's his name? Eugene St. Romain and Verlinda Joseph. The man spent 9 years on remand. I don't think the officer was on remand, whatever, and so on. I keep saying officer, but I'm giving it away. It's okay. I don't think I'm violating anything there. But he was finally sent to prison in 2019. So two things I'm wondering. Now that the appeal court, and based upon what the DPP said in the end, he's not inclined to move for a retrial. He doesn't see that it makes sense based upon what the appeal court justices have said. And based upon that, I doubt this thing is going to be appealed further as to the CCJ, for example. So this matter looks like it probably, likely, I don't know, I can't say for sure, has come to an end. I'm looking at the dual impact of justice for the boy, now fully an adult, 31 years, who has to live with whatever shame and embarrassment, because whatever we say, people will know, people will find out. His name was never, his identity was never disclosed in the court proceedings and in the appeal judgment that I'm reading. And so he has to live with that. Maybe if it is true that what happened, what he said happened, he has to live with shame, he has to live with embarrassment, he has to live with psychological effect, he has to live with behavioral changes, because it is said that there is something that is known as, is it the gay paradox? But I suspect it is the sexual violation paradox, that you are raped, you complain about it, you don't like it, but somehow it influences your life, that the very thing that brought you anguish, you become that thing. So the young girl who was sexually violated and molested and so on, she grows up into what we in our society like to call a jamet. A young boy who happens to find himself forcibly sodomized, whatever. I don't know what it does. I've heard it rewires something in you. So he grows up to be somebody who's looked down upon and who's, basically scorned as a bulla. But we don't understand the connection between that and the abuse that they went. I hope not. I hope he's found good counseling, whatever it was, and so on, if he did go through that. And I hope it has not affected his life and his behavior in a manner that might not otherwise have been by his own choice if he had not gone through this ordeal. I don't know. But let's look at the accused person who has now been set free and released. Both the conviction, in other words, basically the appeal court is saying that he should never have been found guilty because of the misdirections or the lack of directions from the judge to the jury. 6 years of his life gone behind bars. Who knows what happened to him while he was in the prison? Who knows what effect it's having upon him? Who knows what it's having upon his life? So the question I asked myself when I read it was compensation. Who's going to compensate him for those years lost? Is all the salary that he lost and all the time that he was suspended and all the pay, a half pay at first and so on, and loss of complete pay, a reputation, whatever, his employability now, can he be reinstated if he's still within the age, where he can serve in the force? What's going to happen? What will compensate him for opportunities for promotion or whatever? Or is it just a case of tough luck? Because if they're saying that they're setting aside conviction and sentence, they're saying basically he should never have been found guilty because of the lack of proper directions to the jury by the judge. And he should never have been sent to prison. But he was sent to prison. He was found guilty and so on. So what happens to the damage that has been done to his life irreparably? And at the end of the day, if a judge was supposed to have done certain things, and when I read the appeal, ruling and so on, I tell myself, to me, what the appeal court justices are saying is something that a judge should have known. Now, if a judge doesn't do it, I don't know whether it is called judicial negligence. I don't know whether it is called oversight. I don't know if it is just considered, oh, well, it's one of those things and so on. But if a judge, and it sounds pretty elementary, pretty basic to me, if a judge didn't do those things, is there any liability for judges and magistrates and whatever it is if they fail to do those basic things that lead to a man being, as the appeal court finds it, wrongly convicted and sentenced for what is a heinous, career obliterating, reputation destroying, conviction and sentence that even if he is set free and so on, he can never really escape it. He can never really get to live it down. I don't know. And this that I read there is coming at a time when there's a case before the CCJ. The CCJ has heard it. I don't know when they'll deliver their ruling, where I'm just drawing it from memory, where 2 or 3 men were found with a huge amount of cash, maybe over $1 million and so on. And the cash was seized by the police and they were charged whatever. In the magistrate's court, whatever, the magistrate, whatever, but the matter ended up reaching the high court. And I think in the high court, they said to return the men's money to them and whatever the charges against them and so on, to drop it. Now, I would have thought that the seizure of the money was related. I'm kind of paraphrasing there. I would have thought that the seizure of the money was related to the charges against them, whatever it was, whether for money laundering. I don't see that they found them with anything else. No drugs, no guns, nothing like that. But a huge amount of cash, which it doesn't seem like they could have satisfactorily accounted for. The matter was taken to the magistrate's court, and basically the magistrate upheld that the police had the right, for whatever reason, whatever charge they had them, to hold on to the money. It went to the high court, and the high court basically said, I think so, that basically give them their money, whatever. The matter was appealed, and I believe the appeal court, in the end, I can't remember the judgment it was, but the magistrate, the matter reverted, and the magistrate, some other agency, I think the financial, whatever authority, financial services authority or whatever, and so on, got involved. And the very same money that they said to release to the man, they reconfiscated it. Now, reconfiscated, it had not yet been physically returned to the men. It was still in the custody of the police. But some other law enforcement agency of the state came and said, okay, the magistrate has said drop it in terms of that police charge, but we are now representing another agency and we are going to hold on to that money under a different law. Remember, I told you some time ago, I ended up being charged under some law because the officer who found my vehicle parked on a double yellow line outside Massey on the Castries waterfront did not have a ticket book. So he could not issue me a simple ticket. Because of that, he charged me under some other law, which even though it is the same offense, but the fine for it is way, way, way higher. Whereas the ticket would have been just $200, whatever other law, the ticket starts at $1,000 and so on. And maybe these are things we need to do to streamline and to basically tweak our laws so that they don't have these wide disparities for the same thing. But apparently there was some provision under some other law which is under the financial whatever crimes, whatever thing, and they came and they took the money again. And so the question was, how can a high court judge, say give the men back their money, but while that's the implementation or the application of that ruling is pending, the same magistrate from which it was appealed can come back and say that another agency has a right to seize that same money. So I think this matter worked its way through the judicial system, and it is now before the CCJ. Interestingly, unless I'm very mistaken, sometimes reading late at night when I should be sleeping and so on, a little brain fog comes over me. The lawyer representing the men who the money was seized from probably faced a similar thing himself many years ago, Mr. Horace Fraser. I think he's representing them. They're the applicants, of course, they're appealing. And I think it was a situation where Mr. Fraser gave a ruling in his capacity as a magistrate, varying some order that was given by the High Court. Something he had dealt with, went up to the High Court or whatever, and the matter reverted to him, and he ended up, I think, giving bail where the High Court had denied bail. And it was a case where, look, the High Court, the judge is higher in the judicial hierarchy than the magistrate. If they say no bail, how can you be granting them bail? And I think this matter, it went to, I believe, don't quote me on that, but that is what led to the end of Mr. Horace Fraser's time as a magistrate. There were other punishments, whatever that were levied against him, that I believe was set aside and so on. So it's very interesting that Mr. Horace Fraser, who may know more than a thing or two about this, is actually representing them. But to come back to the whole thing, in this situation where a man is accused of buggery and whatever it is, indecency, and as we said, forcing himself on a little boy, he's lost his career to all intents and purposes. He's lost a tremendous amount of pay, and that we're talking about 2008 to now. That's 17 years this thing has gone. He spent 6 years behind bars, and now an appeal court finds that his conviction was unsafe and hence invalid. They've overturned it. His sentence ought not to have been, because it was a result of the conviction. And so if he was going to spend 30 years, after 6, they've set him free. How does he get redress? How does he get compensation? And what happens to the judge who should have given what seems to be some simple directions when I read it? And what is a judge should know those kinds of things. Who really pays up? Who compensates? Who makes good? Who makes amends to this man for what he has been through, based upon what the judges are saying, the appeal court judges are saying. So it's just one of those things that I thought I should mention. As I told you, I don't think real issues, we have to go down the politics of, every single day on a single issue, of bashing UWP, SLP, and this kind of thing. I believe we need to look at those things in our society. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. It's already 1 o'clock, a little bit after that, I think. And so we'll take our first break. And when we come back, I'll have the phone lines open, even if I say a couple of things still, but I will not turn away any call that comes in. So please don't go away.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Watch Radio NYC and Night Blink Events proudly presents the 3rd edition of Country on the Water. It's all going down on Sunday, December 7th on board the King of Carnival. Boarding at Obez Seraphim from 10 a.m. Early bird tickets cost $100. Regular $120. Featuring your DJs, Selector Jerry, DJ Leroy, DJ Rambo, DJ Bucker, DJ Steve, and the Fabulous Kid. Get those tickets before they're all sold out. For tickets and more info, call up 712-1022 or 728-7828. Sunday, December 7th, Country on the Water. It's not just a boat ride, it's an experience. Don't miss the energy, the vibes, and the ride of the year.
Excuse me, would you mind if I sat down?
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Appreciate you staying with the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters on this Friday. It is the 7th of November 2025. And I just got another query from someone who asked whether we're on today. And by that, I know it's somebody who's following us on the TV. And if you're a member of the Real Issues WhatsApp chat group, you can find the program link for both YouTube and Facebook Live in there. And I suspect Jaquan may have it put up in other places as well. So you can join us on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live, if the TV is giving you any bother. But Jaquan tells me that we've gotten this fixed since it was pointed out. All right. Miguel, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miguel, and for the messages that you just sent and said his daughter is just a cold and cough. Glad for that. He's also sent a link where he says, if you feel like reading prose on the show today, laugh out loud. He also said something about Jerry Springer too. So I'm not exactly sure. But let me just continue with what I was saying about this court case involving, and I've let out enough to say that it's a police officer. Don't know if he's going to be a police officer again or if he'll opt for retirement. It's a rich retirement age, whatever it is. But let's just read a couple of paragraphs. The appellant, a police officer, was convicted before a judge and jury on one count of buggery and one count of gross indecency against a 14-year-old boy, the virtual complainant of VC. He was sentenced to concurrent terms of 18 years and 4 years imprisonment, respectively. The virtual complainants of VC's testimony detailed a violent and prolonged episode of anal penetration with what he described as the appellant's gigantic and extremely huge erect penis, so much so that he bled. The medical examination conducted shortly after the incident, however, revealed no abrasions, lacerations, redness, or other evidence of injury in the perianal region. So this is one of the things he's saying, that the judge should have said to the jury, look, the testimony or whatever given by the virtual complainant does not appear to square with the medical examinations. The Crown's case relied primarily on the VCs, and again, VC means virtual complainant, alleged victim, supported by forensic examination of spermatozoa, that sperm, of course, scientific name, detected on an anal smear. The appellant denied all sexual activity, claiming the VC made advances toward him which he rebuffed. The appellant appealed against both conviction and sentence. At the hearing, the appellant was granted leave to amend his notice of appeal to argue 4 grounds of appeal against conviction. 1, the trial judge failed to give a proper unreliability warning as required by Section 136(1)(e) and 2 of the Evidence Act. So you see, this is the thing. It's about the judge giving some kind of saying, hey, I want to warn you, jurors, that this evidence is probably unreliable because of A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So you consider it, but consider it within the context that it can be unreliable, all right? 2, the learned judge erred in failing to give a good character direction. And that's the other thing, to say that the accused is a man who's never been implicated or accused or found in anything like that or anything close to that. Good? 3, the learned judge failed to direct the jury on how to treat with the evidence of recent complaints. And that's what I was saying about the matter where the boy claimed that he went home and told his mother. If that is true, why wasn't the mother brought in court as a witness? Why wasn't she cross-examined? Why didn't she give, testimony to say, okay, this is what happened on the day my son came home. He came home later than he normally comes home or is supposed to come home. I asked him where he came from. Whatever. I noticed he went to the bathroom quickly, and afterwards I saw like he had difficulty sitting, whatever. And when I questioned him, he told me so and so. None of that was done. And that would have been key, because whatever the boy had to say, it would have been, I suppose, supported and backed up and corroborated and confirmed by the mother. That seemed to have been a major slip up there. And 4, the numerous errors by the judge rendered the conviction unsafe. The grounds of appeal against sentence were that the court failed to give adequate or any consideration to the issue of delay and failed to consider it as a mitigating factor necessitating a discount. And the delay is that, between 2008 to 2019, 11 years, before this matter could make its way into the court and be disposed and be dispensed with finally, Secondly, the judge gave no consideration to the appellant's prospects of rehabilitation. And then the summary line of that introduction, where the 3 justices are saying, held, allowing the appeal, quashing the conviction, and setting aside the sentence. Okay? So basically, they sided, they sided with the grounds of appeal that were advanced, on behalf of that police officer, all right, who was represented by Mr. David R. Francis, and the person who appealed for the respondent, because the case was brought against the officer and the king, which is, of course, the state, and the director of public prosecutions, Mr. Dazarian Green, who was not DPP at the time when this matter occurred or whatever, and he became DPP much, much later. But of course, he's the DPP in charge of all prosecutions and so on, so he would have taken over at some point. And so for the respondent, which is the king, aka the state, he appeared. Like I said, I don't want, you can't go, it's 39 pages long. But let me just read this here. Section 136 of the Evidence Act prescribes that unless there are good reasons for not doing so, a judge presiding over a jury trial shall give an unreliability warning. The focus of Section 136(1)(e) is the evidence of the victim of the sexual offense, and it is to his or her evidence that the warning is directed. First, the judge must direct the jury that the evidence may be unreliable. Secondly, the judge must identify the tangible factors or features of the evidence that may cause it to be unreliable and explain why. And thirdly, the judge must warn the jury to exercise caution in approaching two aspects of their task. One, whether to accept the victim's evidence at all, and two, in deciding what weight to attach to it. The Section 136(2) warning contemplates that a searching light will be trained on the evidence of the VC, that's the virtual complainant, after the jury has been told that his evidence may be unreliable. This did not happen in this case. First, the judge gave no clear warning that the VC's evidence may be unreliable. Secondly, the judge was required to, but did not identify those matters that might have caused the VC's evidence to be unreliable. The most glaring feature of the evidence that potentially made the VC's evidence unreliable was the medical evidence, which recorded an absence of any injury, lacerations, or abrasions to the VC's anus. The judge failed to specifically draw the medical evidence to the jury's attention and to explain to them that it could potentially make the VC's evidence unreliable, as it could possibly be seen as inconsistent with his detailed account of a violent and prolonged sexual assault. The learned judge was further required to warn the jury that there was a need for caution in accepting or assigning weight to the evidence of the VC as a result of the matters that made his evidence unreliable, and explain why. Although the failure to give the unreliability warning does not ineluctably, that is inevitably, lead to the quashing of a conviction, in this case there is no other evidence implicating the appellant. In a case where it was the VC's words against the appellant, the need for a full and adequate unreliability warning is brought into high relief. The learned judge therefore erred in failing to properly and adequately discharge her duty to give the unreliability warning, and this error is fatal to the conviction. Imagine that, eh? I'm not saying we know for a fact he didn't do it or he could not have done it, or the forensic evidence, The failure by the judge to give certain warnings, certain cautions to the jury, that alone, it's fatal to the conviction. We're overturning the conviction. And since the sentence depended on the conviction, the other thing again is about the good character warning. Where a person has no convictions of any relevance or significance, he is regarded as being of good character and is entitled to the benefit of a good character direction, and the judge must give one as a matter of course and not discretion when summing up to the jury. The judge must explain the relevance of a defendant's good character to the issues in the case. The standard good character direction consists of two limbs, credibility and propensity. The credibility direction instructs that a person of good character is more likely to be truthful than one of bad character. This limb is given where the accused gives evidence or when he relies upon an account given in an interview. The propensity direction tells the jury that he is less likely to commit a crime, especially one of the nature with which he is charged. This limb of the good character direction is given whether or not the accused has given evidence or an account in an interview. Given that credibility was the central issue in the case, the complete absence of the good character direction was a material irregularity that affected the fairness of the trial and renders the conviction unsafe. And on it goes, folks. I encourage you, go there and pick up and read read those things and get to an understanding, because sometimes we can become enraged, we can become incensed, we can become irate, and it's only when you go methodically to all what the judges have to say, what they take into consideration in arriving at their decision, that we can know. Let me just read really the end of it all, the summing up of it, so that you can get an idea of it all, because I remember being shocked and absolutely outraged, but of course, as a journalist, I kept my mind open. The person who was accused and who was put on trial, eventually convicted, and I were on speaking terms for a long time before that. I think he was someone who was very well regarded in the police force at the time for things like community policing and getting young people to, basically to improve themselves, to behave themselves, to stop all this. Let me see that. Sorry about that, folks. I'm just scrolling down. They draw all references of explaining, why they've taken the position that they have. But sometimes, oops, it's not going up for me. Okay, yeah, I'm getting it to go now. Whoop. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry. I really need to just... all case law and all precedents and so on are being brought up. But I just wanted to bring... All right. Okay. Consideration of a retrial. Okay. And the judge who wrote the ruling on behalf of the other two justices, usually one of them. In summary, I would allow the appeal because the trial judge failed to give the unreliability warning in accordance with Section 136(2) of the Evidence Act, failed to give a good character direction, and failed to direct the jury to disregard the virtual complainant's evidence that he told his mother what happened. I would therefore quash the conviction and set aside the sentence. Consideration of a retrial. I have carefully considered the consequences of overturning the conviction, and in particular whether a retrial should be ordered. There are settled, common, but non-exhaustive factors that inform such a decision, drawn primarily from some case law, Reed versus R. These factors have been adopted and consistently applied by this court. They include the seriousness and prevalence of the offense with which the appellant is charged, the cost and time implications likely to be occasioned, the length of time that will have elapsed between the offense and the new trial, the strength of the prosecution's case, and the availability of witnesses on both sides. And as an example, a boy was 14 years old when he complained of something done to him. Now a 31-year-old man, will he want to go through that again? These are things you have to. At the forefront of my mind is the salutary principle that those guilty of serious crimes should be brought to justice and not escape due to a technical blunder by the judge. The question of guilt should be determined finally by a jury's verdict and not left in abeyance because of a technical legal defect in the course of the trial. This is important to preserve public confidence in the administration of justice and may sometimes be the most compelling reason to order a new trial. At this case, however, the prosecution's case cannot be described as overwhelming or compelling. Further, as at the date of this judgment, 17 years have passed since the date of the alleged incident in 2008. Given the backlog of criminal cases in St. Lucia, there is no certainty that an early trial date can be secured, as cases where the defendants are in custody may have to also share priority. Furthermore, the appellant was sentenced to a total of 18 years imprisonment on 26 February 2019. We were advised that with remission, he could be expected to serve 12 years, of which he has already served more than 6 years. Okay? And then they go on. At the hearing, although the learned DPP initially indicated that a retrial would be sought, he eventually told this court that he felt some reluctance in saying that a retrial would be in order. For the reasons expressed above, I consider that a retrial would be inappropriate. And the two other justices wrote, concurring, that we agree with what this judge who wrote the ruling on their behalf. And that's what it is. So, folks, let's move into territory where perhaps you are more familiar with on the real issues, but do concern yourself with matters of justice. I get a lot of messages from people who for some reason seem to believe that I will have a better idea than them of when elections would be held. I don't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the Prime Minister's mind. And this is not among the things, if at all he confides anything in me, this is not one of them, of when elections would be. One of the messages says, what date is the election? The momentum is already up, so it should be called before Christmas. If they wait for next year, the momentum will die. Christmas will kill the momentum. It's a word I hear a lot people use. I have used it too, about momentum. But I don't know why we're talking about momentum. To me, the St. Lucia Labour Party, the present government, the Prime Minister's momentum has been increasing. It's been developing. It's been getting better. with every launching, the whole Kifo sensation and the whole Shanda hype that has built up and all of that. To me, I find the longer the Labour Party stays, the greater the momentum. And it's not just platform and politics and motorcade and rally and launching and this kind of thing. It is all the various initiatives telling people that, we're going to pay you a bonus, or we've already paid you a bonus. We will have VAT-free day in December. It's like there's no stopping of it. It goes on and on. St. Jude is going to be open soon. The roads, we're working on them. The this, the that, and the other. To me, there's been a build-up of momentum. I don't know why it was. And I mentioned to you many, many years ago at Radio St. Lucia, after we'd done an interview on air and he was going down to the washroom, and I walked him part of the way to show him, okay, the washroom is down this way. Dr. Kenny Anthony, Prime Minister at the time, told me, I don't know why Labour Party people have a tendency to panic. They panic very easily. And he was right. And I see that same panic the government is working. As Bertram Jean wrote and Jusman sang so well. The government is working. They're turning out things that will sustain momentum. St. Jude is just one of them. So many other things that they're taking. They're presenting a slate of candidates. I mean, I don't feel sorry for Flambeau. But I had to look at my friend Stephen holding a meeting. When was it? Last night? Whatever it was at Cedars. And hardly anybody there, like Stephen talking to himself and it's struggling for talking points like prices have gone up under this Labour government and crime. Well, where have prices ever not gone up? Why do we know that prices have gone down because of interventions done by this government in terms of, removing the VAT and zero rating things and removing the consumption tax and doing so many things, working with the private sector. But it's all about this has gone up and crime has gone up. Look at crime. The police have been pushing back against crime in areas that we may not know. The drug bust that they've been making at the post office and Slaspa and those kinds of places, we may not understand it, but a lot of the crime and the violence and the shooting are related to this underground economy and our own little world that we're running things and so on that is fueling the gang and crime and so on, my drugs and my turf and my this kind of thing. And lately things seem to have quieted down because they are having a true zero tolerance. We talk zero tolerance, but we're not practicing it. But now we're going and hitting at it in ways that you may not see the relationship. I don't know what it is about momentum we're on. Wasn't it momentum that in a SLP community meeting at Timon Union, part of the Babonneau constituency, when was that? Last night, Wednesday night, who did we see coming onto the SLP platform? A former chairman or deputy chairman, a man who once used to be speaker, but now he's still speaker, or he's come back as speaker in a different way on an SLP platform, wearing his red shirt to come out batting and rooting for who I understand is his half-brother John Paul Estefan. Andy Daniel was on an SLP platform. Andy Daniel, the lawyer, who's a former magistrate, who's a former speaker, of the St. Lucia House of Assembly, was on a platform. Before we go for the break, let's play those two clips, by Andy Daniel, former chairman of the UWP, former speaker, former magistrate, now coming out. A man was, I think he was former candidate too. The man was a UWP candidate for Denry North at one point. You understand? And Andy Daniel is now, when you talk about momentum, isn't that momentum? Isn't that momentum that is building up? If we had called the election already, would we be seeing Andy Daniel? And do we know who else we're going to see? Who more from, will realize that the substance of government is on this side? So let's play the two clips back to back.
Alan Shastney fought. That he had the power to fire Andy Daniel as acting chairman of the United Workers' Party. He moved all and sundry to get that done. It didn't happen. But I am saying to you tonight, Babonneau, I will fire Alan Shastney and he shall never be part of St. Lucian politics again. Never. I have one mission this year. Or I have one mission next year. Alan Shastney will be out of St. Lucian politics forever. And I will be back to talk about some other person in that race in Babonneau. You see, people tend to forget. But I don't forget, I take notes. Because I cannot rely all the time on my brains. But I take notes. So ask him. Ask him for me. What did we discuss? What did we discuss in Marigo? At Judge's Paradise. Ask him.
Andy Daniel, what did we discuss at Judge's Paradise in Marigo, which is in Castro South, isn't it? What did we discuss at Judge's Paradise? And when you stack that together with what Big Daddy had to say some time ago, remember Big Daddy? The things that he had to say? Is Andy Daniel going to come up and buttress and reinforce and confirm and solidify the things that Big Daddy was trying to say to us some time ago? And I listened to Andy Daniel there and I said to myself, it looks like Andy has been talking to Leandra George Fields, man. Never! Jamais! That's not going to happen. Andy Daniel, what momentum are you talking about? Is the momentum less now or is the momentum greater? To me, Andy Daniel reminds me that he is like Von Lewis on steroids when he told us that the substance of government is over here with the Labour Party, not over there. That's Andy Daniel, folks. And there are others. We know there are many others and there will be yet more others. What you want to do? Pressure Philip JPF is not in his mind to go and call an election in November or in December, when we still have a weather that is iffy, and while the election campaign is coming, a Christmas Eve trough type of event come and throw everything off, and UWP dancing all over the place. That is because Labour so bad, Labour cause a trough and this kind of thing. Or let him take his time as a prime minister. He's an informed person. If he decide, let's wait, in the build-up to independence and so on, to get elections out of the way before independence or wait after independence or whatever, where we know that time of the year, whatever they call it, the Kawem, the time comes in and, Kawem means, maybe pre-Lent and so on, don't wait for Lent. Where the weather is a lot more stable and settled and so many things are done, and because of the dryness there are certain road projects and other things that you can do because you have a window of good weather, whatever it was, and to have a short election campaign. Folks, relax ourselves now, man. Relax ourselves. The momentum and the substance is with the St. Lucia Labour Party. Stop this panic about momentum will be lost and this kind of thing. Who are we worried about? Haven't you seen what has happened to Donald Trump? His momentum is seriously checked, and it will continue to be checked. While those elections do not change the balance in the Congress, whether House or Senate, and he still holds on to the White House, but he probably will now check himself. He'll probably think twice. He'll probably do a lot of things. So if he's afraid to be afraid that he might come and interfere in our elections, as he apparently did in Argentina to cause, Milei or something to win re-election, and the pressure he's trying to put on Gustavo Petro in Colombia and Lula in Brazil over Bolsonaro, that they should cause the trial and so on, he's in serious trouble. The winds of change and the headwinds of who can do what and so on, they are not just foregone conclusions that are determined like that. The fundamentals of good government are being practiced in St. Lucia under the leadership of Philip Joseph Pierre and the team of highly capable men and women, both within the cabinet and the party, that are working hand in glove with him in a harmony that I think we have never seen before. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. When we come back, the phone lines will be open for your calls. We'll be reading your messages, and we're going until 2 o'clock, our final program for the week. Make the most and the best of it.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Watch Radio NYC and Night Blink Events proudly presents the third edition of Country Underwater. It's all going down on Sunday, December 7th on board the King of Carnival. Boarding at Obez Seraphim from 10 a.m. Early bird tickets cost $100. Regular $120. Featuring your DJs Selector Jerry, DJ Leroy, DJ Rambo, DJ Bucker, DJ Steve, and the Fabulous Kid. Get those tickets before they're all sold out. For tickets and more info, call up 712-1022 or 728-7828. Sunday, December 7th, Country Underwater. It's not just a boat ride, it's an experience. Don't miss the energy, the vibes, and the ride of the year.
Excuse me, would you mind if I sat down?
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The man, the voice, Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Blue Waters, we have our first caller. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello.
Good day, comrade.
Hello.
Hello. Good day, comrade.
All right. Hold on a second. The monitor wasn't up, so you were talking, but I wasn't hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Yes. Okay. In your preamble, when you spoke about that story, I said I do not know them, but I sympathize with both parties involved. And there's always a saying that goes, justice delayed is justice denied. So I feel that's how many years of these folks. I was watching a story recently of this man in the US that was in prison, wrongfully in prison for 1+ years.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine, and he came out on America Got Talent, and he was giving his story. And I mean, the folks got goosebumps when the guy said what he went through.
Mm-hmm.
He just pinned him the kind. But the good thing about the skit, he got compensated for all the times. Yes, he was in jail, and his kids, they never give up on him. They said they knew that his dad was innocent, but they just had to pin somebody to the crime, and it just unfortunate he was the one passing at the time.
Yes.
So I can just imagine what these folks going through, and like you were saying, will they get redressed? Will they get compensated?
Yes.
So that's a very serious issue there. Yes. But on another note, the mood is red. Oh man, Andy Daniel said, wait for it, there is more to come.
Yes.
So,
yes. Honestly.
There is more to come. So let the PM in his wisdom, he will call the election when the time is right. Because the mood is red. And they all are scared.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Right.
Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. Did we have someone on the WhatsApp line? All right. Is the person still there? All right. We had somebody on the WhatsApp line. Apparently they couldn't, but maybe they're calling back. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran, good afternoon, sir. No, based on the gift, the gift and the ability, I find you presented that legal case there very well. But I was just asking you a question. In lieu of presenting the case beyond a reasonable doubt, where does that fall in that equation based on the matter that you just laid out there?
That is exactly what they are saying, that the judge should have told the jury that the evidence that is given or the testimony given, it cannot fall within the province of beyond any reasonable doubt. So it's basically who you believe, whether you believe the accused or whether you believe the virtual complainant. So you have to weigh it very carefully and be careful, because there's only two people really there. There is no other witness or expert witness or testimony. It's a boy saying that a grown man did something to him, the grown man saying, I didn't do it. So you have to look at different things in it. Like he going to claim that he went home and told his mother, but the mother is not called by the prosecution to testify. And he never said anything about the accused man having an unblemished record before that. There was never anything, against him and so on. So all they're saying is not that those directions to the jury might have changed the verdict, but you have to recognize what the situation is. Unreasonable doubt or beyond any reasonable doubt was a very dicey thing.
Was there intercourse?
Yeah, but at least caution the jury.
Shut on your end.
Yeah?
Yeah, and was there intercourse? Was there any penetration?
Apparently they didn't find anything like that.
Okay.
They didn't find anything like that.
Okay. So I'm moving on to Tommy. I listened to Tommy, and Tommy Descat is a very strange and weird character, And the way he speaks, like he looking at it like he.
Yeah, go ahead. You listening to yourself on the radio or TV or something?
No, I am. No, I'm not.
Yeah, but there's
the way that he's speaking, as if like he believes that he can fool people, man. When he's speaking about he will take $20
billion
from the CIP money. Isn't that the same CIP that these guys try to destroy, man?
Of course, yes, of course. Having junction, have all kind of
filing junction against the CIP.
Bringing
tag with all kind of criminal elements.
Yeah.
Accuse Ernest Hill of being involved in fraud and corruption. And today is that same CIP. But let me just say that, Sheldon, in closing, there's an ad that says that I am the I in CIP. If you see you put these guys there is no I in CIP, It will be them in CIP. Have a good afternoon.
All right, thank you very much. The WhatsApp line, 487-9849, 758-487-9849. We have someone there. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, it wasn't anything. Shelton, I was just telling you, it's off the TV.
Yeah, we got that. We got that.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing else.
Okay.
I just have to tell you the mood is red.
The mood is red.
And PJP all the way.
Can I come over for some red wine?
Oh, with pleasure, my friend. I can't wait to see that day.
All right, then. Thank you very much. All the best to you. All right, then. Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, a good weekend. All right. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters, 758-487-9849. You can WhatsApp call us on that number. And you can also call us on the landline, which is 4533-911. You can send your messages to us as well. And the messages can come via the websites, realfmofficial.com and mbcslu.com. You go there, you'll see the WhatsApp messaging links, all right? And you can click on them. A message box will open. Type your message inside there. Hit the send button, and it's going to come to us in real time. In other words, as soon as you send it, it will appear to us, and Jaquan will, if necessary, forward it to me so I can read it on air. All right, what's the other messages that I was going to read? Let me see. All right, I'm opening there, but a call is coming. Let me see if I can put it in very quickly. Flabos seem to be rushing headlong in a self-destructive, suicidal direction. They all are getting worse and worse. No interest in presenting positive policy plans to the country. Nastiness alone. Never, never, never. Another one just adds just simply, Andy Daniel? Whoa. We have a call on the line. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, caller.
Yes, they're mad. According to the song. Yes, concerning what you were talking about, the man that was that went to prison for how long?
Yeah, well, he had to spend 6 years.
Okay.
But he was sentenced to 18 years, so he actually served a third of the sentence that they had sent him for, yeah.
Yeah. I have a nephew that is in prison the same. They said when they caught him, they said an eyewitness saw him commit the crime. That is the killing of Shem Cherry. Now you are hearing, I heard it on Unsolved Mystery, they were showing that the person who killed Shem Cherry had gone to Martinique and so on and so on. And now I am hearing they also have arrested the person who did kill Shem Cherry. And yet they have my nephew in prison for over, I think, 6 or 7, maybe more than that, years. Now he does not have money, he does not have defense, he doesn't have anybody to defend him. All right, because he's poor and we are not able to do that. So he's just there lamenting in the prison. So what is it that can be done to help him out?
I see.
Since they get somebody, the person who did the crime. Is there anything that can be done? We don't have money for all the high lawyers and so on. There's no money.
So you're saying they have already found somebody?
Yes.
Who they have convicted of committing the crime?
And
that's where, in Martinique?
Pardon?
In Martinique?
They said the person had gone to Martinique.
Okay, but
the person came back
and the
person
was convicted.
They arrested him.
So you're saying, why is your nephew still in prison for that same thing which they found somebody else guilty of it?
Yes.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. Oh, this is something a lawyer needs to look into. And not all lawyers charge money. There are lawyers who do pro bono work. There are lawyers who will hear of that situation and they will come forward and ask whether they can help with it and so on. There are options available. I don't know exactly what they were. I don't understand legal processes and so on. But to me, this is something that can be looked into. I can't tell you exactly who to go to, but I think you should really look into that and see what you can do to help your nephew in that situation.
Yeah, I remember they had Miss Francis.
Speak up a bit for me. I'm hearing you kind of faint and distant.
I said I remember they had Miss Francis was what?
Mary Francis. Yeah.
Mary Francis, right? I don't know if she's still responsible for such cases and so on.
All right. I believe I don't know, within the state, they should also be interested in seeing that justice is done. They should also be interested in seeing that an innocent man or a man of lesser responsibility than he's being accused of should not rot away, in jail and so on for something that they've already found somebody else, whatever, that unless they have some association. I believe, I don't know, you should ask some questions. I can't really tell you off the top of my head where you should ask the questions, who you should ask them of, but you should not rest on that. That's my encouragement to you.
Okay, I'll do research.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Shelton. It's heartbreaking because I am a victim of rape. In the year 1987, I was 11 years old. Now I am 49, soon to celebrate my 50th birthday a month from today. When it was time for the court, they said the doctor went away, but all the evidence was there. Shake my head. I am still suffering with my throat and eye problems because of this monster. I have to deal with seeing him because he is in my community. One day, Almighty God will do what's necessary. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, to have to be facing the person that you say, would have traumatized and brutalized you and violated you in this kind of way. Wow, we're saying all this time, 11 years old and now to be 49. Do we understand 11 from 49, what that is? We're talking about 38 years, a person has to live with that and to be seeing the person all about the place in their community and so on. It's like every time you see that person, you have to be reliving this thing all over. And that is the story of many more people than we think, A lot of people, we see their behavior, whether it is they withdrawn, whether it is they cold, whether it is they cannot form relationships, they cannot stay in relationships. And there are a lot of males who have suffered this kind of thing. We never know how much the crime and the violence and the angry young men phenomenon who before anything want to stab somebody and shoot somebody. We never know the anger they're carrying with them. Maybe the anger of being violated, to a shame, nobody to believe them, nobody to take it up, the perpetrator going away, and then somebody else paying for it, Next person they find and they have the means and the thing. Is a prick and a shoot, because they're carrying that raging in them. We have another call on the line. Real issues.
You're in the country and you're not pleased with it.
Hello.
Carl Daniel.
Yeah, hi.
I am happy. Esteban, it is your time and all the other people. Now is the time to speak. Let us give strength to St. Lucian Party. And we are looking for all St. Lucian. Let us get ourselves in real on the market step. Because Santa Claus will be there again. Oh, I can't with you. You're doing a great job. Please get here. Let's hear. By this way, we are going forward for the promised land. Thank you very much.
All right. I had difficulty hearing that call. The quality of it was not that great. I don't know. Well, I suppose wireless telephony and the person may have called on the WhatsApp line, and so the strength of their signal. Generally these days, I find the communications, the telephone and internet communications is not all that good. Something has happened in the last week or two. I'm not exactly sure where it is. Like I have told you, I just find our telecom service in St. Lucia is not where I would have expected it to be in 2025, a quarter way into the 21st century. We've been at this for so long. The whole internet thing, especially the mobile internet, it sucks to me. And there may be other reasons for it, but too much of it is lacking. Let me see this. Somebody says, momentum just start. There's so much more to come. When the momentum reach its peak, Flabo will disappear. I believe in my PM's judgment. I'm just like you. We have another call on the line. Real issues, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Shelton.
Hello?
Yeah, Shelton.
Yeah, okay, hearing you better now.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Reverend Deacon.
That last call you had there, that one, not caller, but the last message you read there concerning the living with the 12 years, that one really touched me.
Okay.
Shelton, a couple years ago, I got a call from a young lady, and then I was pleased and I was able to help her because she has been having so much difficulties having relationship. And one of the reasons is because she was raped by her uncle.
Oh.
She's actually bear a child for that person.
My goodness.
And that person told her, if you ever mention my name, I'm going to kill you.
Wow.
I have a few police friends of mine I called, and then, they told me, well, the statute of limitations is gone. I don't think statute of limitations should ever run out on that. Because that person is carrying a child for life. I was able to speak to her mother and let her mother know, look, you need to listen to your daughter. She needs to speak to you. And yes, I said she was able to sit and speak, but I do not know what was the outcome after that. She went on to get married after that, and she's now married to, if I call the profession of the person she's married, some people might know. Yeah, but that issue is something that I take very close to my heart, bearing what I myself went through. And when you first started your program, this was one of the issues I remember you used to talk about. Shelton, I don't know how we're going to address these things, whether people do them or get wrongly accused, but this is an issue that we really, really have to look into.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people living with a lot of it, and I kind of sympathize with that person who is living with this thing for years, and to see that person, around her every day, it's a nightmare.
Yes.
Open your eyes every day and to see that person.
Yes.
And that young lady that I helped, the person was living in her very same vicinity, but she could not talk, Shelton.
Yes.
I do not know what the mother did because it was the mother's brother. I do not know what happened after that, but I tried to contact the law enforcement and they told me it was the statute of limitation had run out.
Okay.
All
right.
So, but yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you, Shelton, for giving me that opportunity. St. Lucians in the diaspora, in New York, the tri-state area, wherever you are, remember this afternoon at 671 Prospect Park, that is between Bedford and Rogers. Hey, get yourself there. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia will be there to address you. The mood is red, Shelton.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. A very interesting message which we have to deal with at the end of the program. Good afternoon, Shelton, the mother, and that is the mother of the virtual complainant in this sex crime case that I mentioned about. The mother was called as a witness to give testimony. It's the credibility of that he said and she said that was the issue during the trial. Nothing can compensate for the humiliation, loss of time, the things that the accused family and himself went through, the things that he went through at the hands of inmates and officers alike, the fights, etc. How does he live in a society built on hating people who leave jail? All right. And he says, maybe you can get in touch with the accused. Well, he is no longer accused. He's essentially acquitted now. His sentence and conviction have been set aside. So he's a free man. He's not a man who's under any kind of accusation where the law is concerned. So I can understand not wanting to be identified because that stigma, it sticks with you basically throughout your life. But I'll see whether there's anything we can get out of that. Thanks very much to Bernard Hines for that last call. He's one man who was not afraid to come forward and to tell of his own harrowing experiences and how he turned them into basically a personal triumph in his life. So, it doesn't always end badly. And I'm hoping for this particular person that it won't end badly either. That is the real issues for today and for the week. Thank you so much, everyone, for having been part of it. Thank you very much, Jaquan, for another great job. God willing, all things equal, we'll start this again on Monday of next week from 12:30 to 2 p.m. on Real FM radio station, NBC Television, Facebook, and YouTube live streaming. Shelton Daniel for the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters signing out.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Watch Radio NYC and Night Blink Events proudly presents the 3rd edition of Country on the Water. It's all going down on Sunday, December 7th on board the King of Carnival. Boarding at Obez Seraphim from 10 a.m. Early bird tickets cost $100. Regular $120. Featuring your DJs Selector Jerry, DJ Leroy, DJ Rambo, DJ Bucker, DJ Steve, and the Fabulous Kid. Get those tickets before they're all sold out. For tickets and more info, call up 712-1022 or 728-7828. Sunday, December 7th, Country on the Water. It's not just a boat ride, it's an experience. Don't miss the energy, the vibes, and the ride of the year.
Excuse me, would you mind if I sat down?
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients.
The winning numbers for the midday draw of Friday, 7th November 2025 were double daily grand 3, 6, 10, 21. Big 4, 9, 5, 4, 7. Big for multi-X, 2X. Pick 2, 8, 2. Pick 2 multi-X, FP. 1 off, 1, 4, 9. Lucky 3, 6, 4, 4. Lucky 3 multi-X, 2X.